the idea of sharing the juicy details of last night's date night with friends and family gives you the ick, you might be a private person. Private people often get accused of being secretive, and there's this lingering assumption that if you don't reveal info about something many people talk openly about, then you've got this big, thick, dark secret you're trying to keep buried forever. But there's a very big difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is about having boundaries around what you're comfortable discussing and what you're not. It's making the conscious choice to keep certain thoughts, feelings, and experiences to yourself and not openly share particular aspects of your life. Meanwhile, secrecy has a more sinister connotation and is when someone actively conceals information with the intent to deceive or keep harmful information hidden. Secrecy is about protecting yourself from negative repercussions if someone finds out certain information, while privacy is about protecting your inner peace and mental well-being while respecting your own boundaries. Being private when it comes to dating and relationships seems to almost always go against the norm, with so many people constantly updating us on their relationship status on social media, at family gatherings, and at friend events. Plus, there are so many people who are comfortable talking about all of their dating and relationship drama with nearly anyone who will listen, and there are certainly a lot of listeners with open ears when someone else is spilling their tea, me included. I sometimes wonder if oversharers do it for the attention or because it's not enough for them to have major blessings in their life and genuinely be happy and at peace, knowing that they have things they value and cherish, even if no one else knows what they've got going on. When we achieve something great in our lives, like finding a great partner after experiencing the ups and downs of dating, shouldn't we be so content and grateful that the urge to share the news instantly dissipates because our own cup is so full of satisfaction? I know this is the case for me and many other private people, but I also see the argument of being proud of something or someone to the point that you want to shout the good news from the rooftop, like a proud parent showing off their kids' accomplishments. I was watching a YouTube video from one of my favorite content creators not too long ago who was writing a book. On the day she finished the manuscript, she thought she was going to immediately want to call up all her friends and family and share the major milestone she just reached, but no, instead she was so content with knowing that she finally finished something that had been in the works for so long that she just took some time to breathe in the moment and enjoy her own accomplishment with herself. I'm not saying it's bad to share about the major milestones you reach in life that are important to you, only that I hope everyone gets to experience achieving or building something in your life that's important to you and realizing that the true satisfaction comes from your own personal contentment, not from others congratulating you or patting you on the back. Another core idea and perk of being a private person or private dater is that you get to protect what's valuable. One of my favorite examples of this is how when celebrities or influencers have children, many of them are very reluctant to share photos of their kids' faces on the internet, even after their followers ask. When it comes to dating and relationships, if you've just started talking to someone or you're in a new relationship or you've gone out on a couple of dates with someone new and you're excited to see where things are going, there is so much value in just exploring and experiencing a new connection without telling your whole friend group, strangers, or family members about the new joy in your life. There's this pop culture idea that if you've just started seeing someone or going on dates with this new guy, you could jinx it by telling people about it too soon. Of course, I think that is superstition and a self-fulfilling prophecy only if you believe it. But when you're experiencing a great romantic connection in your life, adopting a private approach to discussing your connection is a great way to protect it from prying questions, people being in your business, assumptions, the harshness of the world, and you free yourself from this obligatory burden among people close to you to share great things that are going on in your life all the time simply because you're experiencing them. Adopting this privacy-first approach in my own dating and relationship journey helps me protect my mental peace, gives me the space to enjoy my relationship without giving updates. It stops my dating journey from becoming a conversation topic in social settings, and it offers me the agency to share about something important when I feel called to share, instead of sharing a life update simply because there is an update that I could share. If you're feeling guilty about keeping your love life under wraps amongst close friends and family, remember that privacy protects your mental peace and gives you the agency to share about something on your own terms. It also gives you the energy to pour back into yourself in your own cup so that you can then proceed to pour into other people's cup too, because your energy is not going towards constantly over explaining yourself or sharing about something new and telling other people why it's important to you. There's a big difference between being private and secretive, as we covered earlier in this episode. Choosing not to share about a relationship or dating life update is a personal choice that is not intended to keep a dark secret under wraps, but a decision truly made out of peace and love. Your relationships and dating experiences are probably particularly valuable to you, and you could protect your privacy in this area by first thinking to yourself about what you're comfortable sharing and with who, and then creating boundaries, which ultimately help protect your peace. We talked about boundaries in an earlier episode. The conversation is super juicy, and you can find a link to it in the description box in case you missed it. Keeping your boundaries in mind when protecting your peace and privacy are super important, and they're not intended to keep others out, but to allow you to interact with people in a way that's comfortable for you. Having boundaries in your dating journey is extremely important, and they genuinely have the power to transform your entire life. The third critical musing about privacy in dating and relationships is your relationship with announcement culture. Whether or not you consciously participate in announcement culture, we live in an era where exposure to announcement culture is inevitable and unavoidable. Whether you're listening to life updates from a friend or an ad announcing the launch of a new product from your favorite brand, announcement culture is a societal practice of making public declarations about life updates, changes, achievements, whether big or small. It's why so many people think they need to announce that they're in a new relationship now, or share about their recent vacation to Turks and Caicos, and about that new smoothie bowl recipe they tried, and how their dog is now eating the farmer's dog as their new favorite dog brand. Announcement culture can almost make you feel in the wrong place if you choose not to share the details of your dating and relationship life online or in person. Aside from people participating in announcement culture for social validation or to make this point that they're definitely not living a sad or boring life, it also normalizes oversharing to the extent that privacy and private people are confused with secretive outcasts. In December of 2023, I tried this experiment where I removed myself from hearing about other people's lives on social media just to see what it would be like to tailor my social media experience to content, brands, people, and creators whose posts I truly enjoy, whose posts add genuine value to my life, and whose posts give me energy and enthusiasm. I started December of 2023 following around 1,300 accounts, and by the end of it, I was following around 40 or so accounts, a number I still maintain to this day. My curiosity about other people's dating and relationship lives completely dissipated the moment I eliminated my exposure to them. When you're removed from other people's dating and relationship life updates, you can direct more attention into building a relationship for yourself that is so happy and healthy. You find contentment in enjoying your relationship without even having the urge to share all the juicy details or overshare about how it's going. The fourth big consideration when it comes to embracing your private dating era is the idea of relationship permanence. One reason why you might be hesitant to speak about your dating and relationship journey is the thought of, well, what if it ends? No one wants to introduce someone to their family and friends only to later have to tell them that the relationship is over or that now you're going through a breakup or a divorce. For women, breakups can also carry the added significance of needing to find a partner in time to reproduce if that's something you desire. To combat the what if it ends sentiment, you can fully embrace the dating and relationship stage you're in right now and note that you will be okay even if it changes. The consideration of relationship permanence had definitely pushed me towards a private approach to sharing about dating and relationships, but from a philosophical perspective, you could argue that everything in life is permanent only until it is not. There aren't always guarantees in relationships, as even marriages end sometimes, but that doesn't mean someone shouldn't share about their relationship just because it might end. Imagine not sharing about your wedding because 50% of married couples get divorced. My point though is that if you take a private approach to dating and relationships, there's not always this giant pressure of having to share when the relationship has come to an end, if it does end. I also want to add that a reason why women might not share about relationships online is because society judges women harshly in relationships. Celebrity lives often reflect what happens in the lives of non-celebrities too, just on an amplified scale. And so I've noticed among celebrities that whenever a woman happily shares about her new boyfriend or girlfriend, she's met with demeaning comments about how the relationship will probably end soon. But when a man posts about a new partner he is proud of, everyone is like, oh, congratulations. My theory to explain this is that women are more likely to share about heartbreak, whether in a song, with their family, friends, community. And so as a result, society begins to associate women with roller coaster dating journeys, big emotional journeys, just because we're more open about the ups and downs of dating that both genders may be facing. So whenever a woman gets into a happy relationship, it's like there is this palpable hunger for the downfall and the juicy details of a messy breakup. For instance, whenever Taylor Swift finds a new boyfriend, it sparks a big conversation about how long people think her new relationship will last, but this same relationship scrutiny is usually not applied to the man she's in the relationship with. This trend seems apparent in a lot of heterosexual celebrity relationships where the woman somehow bears the burden of the prying eyes and questions. I imagine this probably happens in non-celebrity relationships too. And so as a woman in the dating world, you might feel that your friends and family think you're going to share the details of a breakup or a love life update with them as soon as there is news to share, perhaps more so than they may expect to hear from a man. But the good news is that you can combat this by adopting a private approach to dating and relationships, which signals to people in your life that you're not planning on sharing detailed love life updates anytime something changes. Another way to move past feeling hesitant about sharing relationship life updates in the case that the relationship comes to an end is to pick people you are sure about. This is huge, you guys. A lot of people are settling in dating and relationships, and they are picking people who they know they will not be with in the long term, even despite having the goal of finding a long-term partner to celebrate many anniversaries with. If you've been settling in dating, I highly recommend checking out some of the first few episodes of the podcast. There's a 2-part episode called How to Overcome Singlehood, Settling, and Situationships in 10 Steps. We covered so many juicy insights in those 2 episodes. They're linked in the description box, as well as our free ebook detailing these 10 steps. I get that relationships can still end even when you were sure that you and your partner were going to last forever, while other times you might be genuinely blessed and correct that the person you've chosen is meant to be your romantic partner for the rest of this lifetime. When I was single and mingling, I adopted an in-game dating approach where I decided that the next person I committed to being in a serious long-term relationship with would be someone I could genuinely see myself spending my life with, not just a chapter of my life with, or not someone I felt I would break up with after a matter of time. Ever since I adopted that new approach and found success, I no longer feel as hesitant sharing about my dating journey because I no longer have the concern that I'll eventually have to go back and tell family and friends a few months or years later that the relationship is over. Ladies, if you are dating someone right now, ask yourself, will I be with this person in 3 years from now? Is this someone I can genuinely see myself spending my life with? Does this person fit into my life goals, the aspirations and ambitions that I have for myself? Is this someone that I can genuinely see myself committing to, not just right now and in the moment, but for life and for this lifetime? If the answer is no, and it's okay if it is, realize that the person you're currently seeing is just a roadblock on your journey to finding the person that you're truly meant to be with. By ending the connection right now, you free both yourself and your current partner up to the possibility of finding someone that you are both truly meant to be with. My final major musing on privacy in dating and relationships is that having a private dating life ensures you choosing partners and approaching dating in a way that works best for you. In American mainstream culture, there's this idea of how a socially acceptable love story should go, where you date like 3 people, go through love and heartache, and then finally find someone and get married just as you turn 27, right in time to make family plans without having to worry about your biological clock striking midnight. I just want to point out that this is not necessarily the societal relationship trajectory in other cultures too. Arranged marriage is common in Hindu culture. In Amish culture, people date for marriage and are wed shortly after high school graduation, while some cultures practice polygamy and celebrate multiple spouses or partners. When you embrace a private dating journey, you are able to fully embrace and relish in approaching dating in a way that works best for you personally without thinking about which dating practices are normalized in the culture you live in. So many people's real dating story is different from how they portray it to others, and it's often a lot less fantastical and fairy tale-esque as they would like to portray it. Deciding not to make love life or relationship announcements and updates frees you from keeping up the persona of being in this epic happy relationship, or from creating an inauthentic dating story because it will sound good when you share it with friends and family. Everyone has a different style of dating that truly works best for them. And when you really lean into what dating approach works for you and fits into your life timeline and trajectory, you recenter yourself as the driver and creator of your dating life and decenter the details of your love life from being consumed at family gatherings or in friendship circle discussions. We don't always realize it, but when we are in the habit of constantly sharing dating life updates, especially positive ones, we subconsciously desire to keep sharing these incredible dating experiences even when our situation has changed or we desire something else. This is why it can be so hard to tell friends and family that you've broken up with someone, especially if you've spent so much time sharing either online or in person about this relationship. I remember when I was in high school, there was this one guy who would talk about his girlfriend constantly. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I know they've broken up by now because there is no way this guy has that much to share about his girlfriend. Eventually, he did share that his relationship had ended a while ago. My point in sharing this story is that when you have a private dating life, you are so much freer to change your dating status, change the gender of people you date, radically shift and overhaul your dating life, explore new connections, and genuinely approach dating on your own terms because you no longer have to keep up with this persona or this narrative that you've been crafting for family or friends or people on social media, and you no longer have to update people on when your love life has changed since the last time you told them about it. With all of that said, there is a very important thing to note when considering a private dating approach. Even though this episode has centered on the power of privacy, sharing your unique dating story helps society embrace more non-linear, atypical paths to achieving a happy relationship you can be proud of. And it empowers other people who hear your story to embrace their perhaps non-traditional experiences in finding love, like finding love later in life, or finding love as someone with disabilities, or finding love after divorce or after a series of failed relationships. Too often, we hear these perfect love stories of people who had this super coincidental meeting with someone they felt instant chemistry with, or they picked a partner that all their friends and family just loved immediately, and then they got married at just the age that they hoped they would. These whimsical love stories are overshared and very highly centered in society and in our media. And while they are common, they are not necessarily the norm, and not everyone's love story has picture perfect unfolding. But if you have a non-linear love story, like maybe you didn't date according to the norms of your community or culture, maybe you took some time to genuinely explore and question your sexuality, maybe you had a lot of failed relationships you were very committed to, or multiple engagements, or you had a traumatic and hard time finding lasting love, we need to hear more stories from people who have had diverse experiences in finding love that deviate from the picture-perfect fairy tale romantic quote-unquote norm. I have to mention this because every love story is valid and important, not just the picture-perfect ones. And if we overemphasize privacy in dating, traditional love stories become the assumed norm, while imperfect, non-linear ones are banished to the periphery of the social conscious. This week's big pink question is, how would you like to honor your privacy when it comes to your love life? And what advantages and disadvantages do you think you'll encounter? We talked about the advantages of privacy throughout the episode, but some potential disadvantages could include being perceived as secretive by your friends and family, people assuming you're single when you're not, or privacy may initially feel uncomfortable for you if you're not a private person or you have a tendency to overshare. Wishing you so much love and positivity, and I'll see you same time next week.